Kentucky. Driving the Abel Construction Bell helmet car number 51, it's Jacob Abel. And now to the front two rows. He'll be starting on the outside this afternoon from Red Deer, Alberta. He drives the Abel Construction Badland Motorsports Resorts car number 8. It's Parker Thompson. To the inside of row number 3 from Gothenburg, Sweden. Driving the Chicago Pneumatic PWR Junior Teams SKF car number 10, it's the machine of Rasmus Lint. On the outside of your front row from Jupiter, Florida, driving the Mazda First Tech Industries Bell Helmet Saybelt car number 28, it's Kyle Kirkwood. And on your pole this afternoon from Payette, Idaho, driving the GP Out Local Big Idaho Potato Truck OMP Interviewvention.com car number 2, your pole sitter is Stingray Robb. Again, our eyes on the drivers on the outside of row number 1 and the inside of row number 2. Kyle Kirkwood, Rasmus Lint, battling down to this penultimate race of the 2019 campaign. As we get set for those most famous words of motorsports, the 15 cars and drivers will get set to make their way out to this beautiful WeatherTech Laguna Seca circuit. Again, Stingray Robb will bring the field of 15 cars down the front straightaway. And now, race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here, a guest of Allied Building Products, please welcome Dave Hokamp to give the command.
On behalf of everyone at Allied Building Products, drivers, start your engines.
And there they are, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca race fans, your starting lineup for this Cooper Tires Indy Pro 2000 WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca Grand Prix, the penultimate race of the 2019 campaign.
Engines have come to life down in the racing pit lane just below our vantage point. And there they go. It is Stingray Robb leading the field out of the racing pit lane onto the track. They'll take their one pace lap and come around looking for the green flag. Stingray Robb on the pole with a lap time of 1 minute and 20.165 seconds. Kyle Kirkwood, who is your championship points leader, starts alongside him in that front row. And the number 28 car, his qualifying time, 1 minute 20.44. Then it's Lind Rasmus in the number 10 car inside row 2, challenging for the championship, only 20 points behind Kyle Kirkwood. Alongside him, Parker Thompson in the number 8 car. Then it's Jacob Abel in car number 51, starting on the inside of row 3. Artem Petrov in car 5 starts 6th. Philip Dennis in 91 is your 7th starter inside the 4th row. Daniel Frost alongside in 68. Row 5, Corey Enders on the inside in car 7. Nikita Lostochkin in car number 90 starts 10th. And Moises de la Vera in the number 6 car. Matt Roungarito in the 27 car, that's row 6. Row 7, Antonio Sarabelli in car 11, Antoine Como in car 3, and Charles Finelli in car 83. That is your starting field. 20 points separate Kyle Kirkwood and Rasmus Lint, cars 28 and 10, in this battle for the championship. With 2 races to go, this being the next to last race, the penultimate race in the 2019 championship. Cars working their way around the track now, coming down through the corkscrew when they come out of turn 11 onto the front straightaway. Stingray Robb and Kyle Kirkwood will lead them to the green flag. Starter has the green flag in hand, waiting for them now as the field comes down through turn 9. Pace car already through 10, going to take the pit exit out of 10. Which they do. Lights are out on the pace car, meaning we are going to go green flag racing. Field starts to bunch up as they come out of turn 10. Nice 2x2 pairs as they go into turn 11. The left-hander coming up the front straightaway, side by side. 7.5 rows, looking for the green flag. It waves, and boy, somebody jumps out of row 3. The driver's right, trying to move up a couple of spots. Not sure if he was able to accomplish it. Everybody gets away cleanly, and it is Stingray Robb leading them into the Andretti hairpin. Right alongside him, though, looks like Kyle Kirkwood trying to make a move on the outside. That is not going to work, as Stingray Robb leads them through turn 3. Now they're singling up, still a couple of them side by side in the back. Everybody gets away clean, going through turn 4 now. They'll go through that infield section. You can see the speed on the digital readout atop the Mother's Bridge as they go through. Stingray Robb trying to pull out a lead. He's got about 3 car lengths over Kyle Kirkwood as they go through turn 5 and start their climb up the hill. Everybody's stretched out single file behind them as they climb up to the corkscrew. A little bit of dicing going on in the back of the pack. There's 3 cars running real close together. They're having a little battle of their own. And Kirkwood closes on Stingray Robb as they get to the top of the hill and begin their descent through the corkscrew. Looks like a multicolored snake is that video shot we've got of them as they come under the WeatherTech bridge down there in Rainy Curve down into turn 9. Coming around to complete lap 1, our timing monitor will update and let us know where everybody is, if any changes have been made or not. But no doubt about the fact that it is Stingray Robb leading the field as they cross the start-finish line. He's got about a half a second lead over Kyle Kirkwood. Lind is running third in the 10 car, followed by Parker Thompson in car number 8. Top 4 just as they started. Artem Petrov running 5th in car 5. Daniel Frost, 68, 6th. Listachkin is 7th in the 90 car. Then it's Abel in 51 8th. Dennis in 91 9th. And Matt Rongarito completes the top 10 in the 27 car. So it looks like Listachkin has moved up a couple of spots. He's up into 7th. He started in 10th. So he's picked up 3 places on the opening lap. Leaders on their way up the hill just out of turn 5, going up through turn 6 now, up the Ray Hall Straight to the top of the track. The corkscrew, about a 5 or 6 story descent down into turn 9. 8 and 8A is what the corkscrew is designated as. The left-hander is 8th. The little right-hander at the bottom is 8A. And then at the bottom of the corkscrew, totally turn 9, a left-hander that is an off-camber turn, which is banked the wrong way, if you want to call it that, has a tendency to want to spit you off on the outside. Stingray Robb, I think, starting to open up a bit of a gap. We'll see what it is when they cross the start-finish line. Last time it was a half a second. This time it's almost a full second, 0.99 over Kirkwood. Lynn's still running third, and he's just about 7/10 of a second behind Kirkwood. Those are the 2 drivers that are battling for the championship. Kyle Kirkwood, 28, and Rasmus Lind in the number 10 car. That is Parker Thompson, Petrov, Frost, Listachkin, Abel, Dennis, and Enders, your top 10. Good racing at the front. Stingray Robb trying to get comfortable, pulling out a little bit of time, half second on each of the last 2 laps. Let's see if he can stretch it to a second and a half this time when they come back down towards start-finish. Kirkwood and Lind running very close together, lapping almost identical times. 122.9 for Kirkwood and 123.1 for Lind. 0.2 of a second difference in their lap time. Those are the 2 championship contenders cars, 28 and 10. The gap between them about 0.7 of a second. Field coming down out of turn 11, completing lap 3. Across the start-finish line, up the straight. Stingray Robb has picked up almost another half second. Now the gap at 1.3 seconds. Back to the battle between Kirkwood and Lind. That is the championship battle, as well as the battle for second spot. Kirkwood in the 28 car is second. Lind in the number 10 car is third. 20 points separating these 2 drivers as they come to the last 2 races of the 2019 season in the Indy Pro 2000 presented by Cooper. Cooper Tires Indy 2000 Grand Prix presented by Allied Building Products. Let me change that. Look at that battle between the 2 of them, and Looks like Kirkwood trying to open up a little bit more breathing room. He's got maybe 1.1 seconds over Lynn, starting to pull away slightly. We'll see if he can continue to do that, looking further back in the pack. Parker Thompson right behind Lynn, just about a half a second back. If Lynn blinks or makes a mistake, Thompson is going to be by him in a heartbeat. And he's followed by Artem Petrov. Then it's Daniel Frost, Latashkin, Abel, Dennis, and Enders. That's your top 10. Coming down out of turn 10 into 11, up the front straightaway, completing lap 4 of a 25-lap race. This is their 5th lap that they are on. Still no changes. Looks like Kirkwood and Lind, again, lapping almost identically. 121.79 for Kirkwood, 121.74 for Lind. Just matching each other. Thompson lurking in the shadows, waiting for a mistake from Lind for an opportunity to get by and break up that battle between the two championship contenders, Kirkwood and Lind, cars 28 and 10. Looking further down in the pack, behind the top 10, Sarabelli in car number 11 is 11th, and Como in car number 3, 12th. Matt Rongarito 13th in car 27, and De La Vera in car 6, 14th, and Finelli, who started last, is last in the number 83 car. Watching that battle as these cars come down through the corkscrew. Feel fairly spread out. No real tight battles in this group so far, but it is still early. 33 minutes left in this 40-minute race. So lots of time. A lot of things can happen. A lot of things can happen in one lap. Around the 11th turn, 2.238 mile WeatherTech Laguna Seca Raceway. Most of these drivers running on this track for the first time ever in their career, and from interviews we have heard and people we have talked to, all the drivers that are new to the track are absolutely delighted with the track and happy to be running here and anxious to come back and race here some more. Stingray Rob continues to stretch it out incrementally, a couple of tenths of a second per lap. He's now gotten a 1.7 lead over Kirkwood. Kirkwood's got about 1.4 seconds over Lind, and is another second back to Thompson. That's your top 4. But Petrov may be making a move on Thompson, as he is less than a second behind the 4th place car. Thompson in car number 8, Petrov in car number 5. Good, clean racing so far. No one has made any mistakes or miscues. No one has gone off. It's a good battle at the back, as I see 2 cars coming into the picture now just out of turn 10. They're pretty much nose to tail. Actually, 3 of them nose to tail as they come up the start-finish straightaway out of turn 11. That's a 3-car battle further in the pack. I think that's Lastashkin, Abel, and Dennis. Cars 90, 51, and 91. Currently running 7th, 8th, and 9th. Rob continues to stretch it. And so far he has turned the fastest lap in the race and continues to lower his lap time. His last, a 121.36. Kirkwood, a 121.5. Lind, a 121.6. Those are the only 3 drivers on that lap that were under 122. Petrov is moving, though. He's at a 121.9. So keep your eye on that number 5 car as he tries to move on Parker Thompson in the number 8 car. That's a battle for 4th that is starting to shape up. Video shot of the cars coming from the corkscrew. Shot from down the hill looking up as they accelerate towards you. Spectacular visuals as these cars come down the hill. Talking to Rob Howden yesterday and asking him about Stingray and his name. Stingray's from Idaho, by the way. From Payette, Idaho, a Yonkers racing entry. And I asked him, you know, did his parents name after a fish or after a Corvette? And he said it was after a Corvette, although there were, I guess, a couple of ancestral names. There was a Ray in there and a Stin, so they combined it to Stingray, and that's how he got his name. Stingray Robb leading this race. Almost 2 full seconds now on the rest of the field. Kirkwood still comfortably in second. Boy, you've got about the top 6 drivers all now lapping in the 1:21 bracket. Lynn 3.5 seconds back, 5.3 to Thompson, about 8/10 back to Artem Petrov. Then it's Daniel Frost, Nikita Listachkin, Jacob Abel 8th, Philippe Dennis 9th, Corey Enders 10th, Antonio Saravalli 11th in the number 11 car, Antoine Camo in car number 3, 12th, Moises Talavera 13th in car 6, Matt Rongarito 14th in car 7. Then it's Charles Finelli. And here's Stingray Robb back again with about a 2.5 second lead now over Kyle Kirkwood, who's comfortably in second, and he wants to stay ahead of Rasmus Lind to maintain his championship lead. He now has 20. He had 20 points in hand over the second place challenger at the start of this race, and he's going to stretch that a little bit if they finish this way. Going to pick up a few more points for second if Lind finishes third. But still a long way to go, and a lot of things could change. These cars are spectacular, and the drivers are doing a terrific job going around this track. You look at some of the speeds as they come up the start-finish straightaway. Last car went by was 129 miles per hour as clocked in a speed trap just beyond the WeatherTech start-finish bridge. That radar measures the speed of the car just as it crests the hill before it starts its descent down into the Andretti hairpin. 129, 131, 132. These are your top 5 cars that just went by us. There's another speed trap that records the speed of the cars as they pass under. That's the Mother's Bridge in the infield between turns 4 and 5. The speed is measured just as the cars enter turn 5 when they start their climb up the hill to the Ray Hall Straight and to the corkscrew at the top of WeatherTech Raceway. Stingray Robb continues to add to his lead just a 10th or 2 a second on each lap. Now has it out to about 2.9 seconds over Kirkwood. And Kirkwood's pretty comfortably ahead of Lind. Rasmus Lind about 3.2 seconds behind Kirkwood in second place. So they're kind of stretched out. No real challenge there except for Parker Thompson. He's only a half a second behind Lind, so he could be challenging him for that third spot. Lind in the number 10 car, Parker Thompson in the number 8 car. So keep your eye on that battle. That's a battle for third overall. Petrov not far behind them as he's only 0.7 of a second behind Parker Thompson. Frost behind him in the number 68 car. He's 6th. So 4th, 5th, and 6th running very close together. Just about a second separating those 3 cars. Car number 8, Parker Thompson. Car number 5, Artem Petrov. And car number 68, that is Daniel Frost. In the meantime, Stingray Robb continues to motor off into the distance. Kirkwood with a pretty comfortable lead over that 3-car battle for third. Kirkwood in the 28 car has got about a 2.5 second lead on that 3-way battle for third between Lind, Thompson, and Petrov. Coming up on the halfway mark. You're measuring in laps 12 of 25 on our monitor. Still that good battle between Lynn, Thompson, Petrov. Frost trying to join in the party as well in the number 68 car. Lynn getting a little breathing room now. He's got about a second over Thompson. Then it's only 0.4 of a second back to Petrov, the 5th place car. 0.6 of a second further back to Daniel Frost. Good exercise for these cars as we look at those 3 cars, that good 3-car battle, 4th, 5th, 6th, cars 8, 5, and 68. Still running together. Everybody's waiting for someone to make a mistake, and that hasn't happened yet. No pressure on Stingray Robb as he's got just about 3 seconds in hand as he goes through and completes another lap. 12 laps in the book for Stingray Robb with a 2.5-second lead over Kyle Kirkwood, your championship leader in the number 28 car. Kirkwood from Jupiter, Florida in the RP Motorsport USA entry. His sponsors include Mazda, First X Industries, Bell Helmets, and Seabelt. Stingray Robb, the Juncos Racing entry from Go Out Local, Big Idaho Potato Truck, and OMP and Intervention.com. Lind in the 10 car from Gothenburg, Sweden. Juncos Racing entry, Chicago Pneumatic, PWR Junior, Team SKF, his sponsors. So looking at this field, 9 of the 15 starters are rookies, including Kyle Kirkwood and Rasmus Lind, the 2 drivers that are fighting for the championship, only 20 points apart as they come into the final 2 races of the season here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. And Stingray Robb has stretched that gap up to 3 full seconds over Kyle Kirkwood. And he's got an almost 5-second gap over Rasmus Lind. He's finally opened up some breathing room on Parker Thompson. But now it's Petrov and Frost that are working on Thompson. Petrov only 0.8 of a second behind Thompson, and Frost another 0.5 second behind him. Petrov in car 5, Frost in car 68, and Thompson we've been talking about running 4th in car number 8. So the battle for 3rd is kind of dissipated. Now it's become a battle for 4th between 3 cars, Thompson in 8, Petrov in 5, and Frost in 68. Stingray Robb hasn't put a wheel wrong, very smoothly. Just now comes out of turn 10 heading into turn 11. Somebody's making a pit stop, didn't get the number of the car. I saw it in the shot showing your race leader going down into turn 11. Here he comes up the start-finish straightaway. His speed 132 miles an hour as he crests the hill past start-finish. Kirkwood at 133. So we do have one car that did make a pit stop, didn't get the number on it. We'll see who's a lap down. Looks like Garrido has had some trouble in the number 27 car. Matt Round Garrido from Stourbridge, England, in the J. Howard Driver Development XL Labs No Stone Unturned entry. He's 4 laps down, and looks like Finelli also is a lap down now in the 83 car. Finelli from New York. The Fat Boy Racing Sugar Haggerty entry. So Stingray Rob continues to reel off lap after lap, comfortably in the 1 minute and 21 second bracket. Just about everybody else lapping it in 1:22 and change, with the exception of Lind, who had a 1:21.9 last time by. So Stingray Rob, not being challenged in this race, seems to have things all his own way. He is in control, running the race that he wants at the pace that he wants, with a 3.1 second cushion over the rest of the field. Kirkwood comfortably in second. He's got 4.5 seconds over Rasmus Lind. And Lind has opened up a gap on Parker Thompson. He's got that out to almost 3 seconds. But then it's Petrov, Frost. Good battle there. Petrov about 9/10 of a second behind Parker Thompson in the 5 car. And Frost in the 68 car about 5/10 of a second behind Petrov. So that battle again is for 4th now, with 3 cars in the mix. Thompson in 8, Petrov in 5, and Frost in 68. It looks like Finelli is still out there. He's just 1 lap down in the 83 car. Garrido has fallen out of the race with mechanical issues. Finelli evidently having problems too, because he is now 2 laps off the field. Lap times considerably slower than the rest of the field. Looking at the qualifying sheet, Finelli had no time in qualifying. So that's why he started at the back of the field. So maybe Kirkwood's trying to reel in Stingray Rob. He's got the gap down to under 3 seconds. We'll have to keep our eye on that. But first and second, with comfortable leads respectively. Stingray Rob, your overall leader in the 2 car, has 2.8 seconds in hand over the second place car, Kyle Kirkwood, 28, who has got 4.3 seconds over the third place car of Rasmus Lind, his challenger for the championship. And he's comfortably ahead of Parker Thompson in the number 8 car. And you got that battle behind Thompson between Artem Petrov and Daniel Frost, each less than a second behind, as they challenge Thompson for 4th place. That's a 3-car battle. Thompson running 4th, Petrov running 5th, Frost running in 6th. Cars 8, 5, and 68. Keep your eye on those 3. That's where the action is at the moment. Kirkwood trying to close in on Stingray Rob. There's still plenty of time to go. We've got probably at least 8 laps left in this race. Gap down to about 2.5 seconds, and Kirkwood on that last lap was quicker around the track than Stingray Rob. Whether Stingray Rob lifted or had a bobble or made a mistake, so far everyone has been driving extremely well. I haven't seen any mistakes, any wheels off, any spins. Nothing. Everyone very, very smooth, driving their own race. And with the exception of that battle for 4th, there's really no pressure on anybody. There was initially in the battle between Stingray Rob, who started from the pole, and Kyle Kirkwood alongside him in that front row. That lasted for a couple of laps, and then Stingray Rob was able to start to pull out a small gap on each successive lap, 1 or 2/10 a second here, there. And now, well, it's dropped again. Now it's under 2 seconds as Kyle Kirkwood is closing in. Again, lapping quicker than your race leader. So I don't know if Stingray Rob is kind of letting it run a little bit, lightening up, cooling off those tires. His lap time, he's in the low 122s, and Kyle Kirkwood at 121.4. We'll keep our eye on that and see how that develops. Kirkwood continue to make inroads on the race leader. Rob in car 2, your race leader. Kirkwood in car 28. And Rasmus Lind pretty much by himself in car 10. He is third. 5 seconds behind Kirkwood, the second place car, and about 4 seconds of Parker Thompson, the fourth place car. Finelli still running in the 83 car. He's just one lap down, as I mentioned. Garrido in 27 has retired with mechanical issues. Here comes Stingray Rob. Here comes Kirkwood. Gap down to 1.7. And Stingray Rob continues to lap in the 122s, and Kirkwood 121. That's why that gap between first and second is shrinking. Maybe Kyle Kirkwood is going to challenge for the lead. He'd love to have a win here. This would add to his points total and increase the gap between himself and his challenger, Rasmus Lind, who is second in the championship standings, 20 points behind Kirkwood at the start of this race and currently running in the third spot. Not sure if Stingray Rob has a problem or what, but I'm sure he's talking to his crew on the radio, and they are aware, as he will well be when he looks in his mirror, that Kyle Kirkwood is coming. So put your foot down, Stingray, and let's see if we can increase that lead and get some more breathing room. Come your race leaders up the front straight. Gap down to 1.5 seconds as Kirkwood continues to close, peeling off a couple of seconds on each lap. That time he was 0.3 of a second quicker on that lap. That was lap 20. Closing in, but a couple more laps, he'll be about a second behind the race leader or less if it continues at this pace. So keep your eye on those top two cars, first and second. Stingray Rob running first in the 2 car. Kyle Kirkwood, 28, running second. Rasmus Lind third in car 10. Parker Thompson fourth in car 8. Artem Petrov fifth in car 5. Daniel Frost, 68, sixth. And Jay Abel seventh in car 51. The number 91 car of Philippe Dennis is running in A spot. And Latoshkin Nikita running 9th in car 90. Enders in the 7 car. Corey Enders is 10th. That's your top 10 unofficially as we have them. And car number 11, Antonio Saravalli, is running 11th. The number 6 car of Moises de la Vera is in 12th spot. Andre Cumeau in car number 3 is 13th. And Finelli, the last car still running, car number 83, is running in 14th spot. Kirkwood continues to close the gap, now 1.08 seconds. Again, each of the last 5 laps have been quicker than the leader's laps. That's why that gap between them is shrinking. Next time by, it should be under a second. Probably got about 4 laps to go, so there's still time. But Kirkwood's going to have to pick up the pace. He's going to need more than 0.3 of a second a lap to catch up to Stingray Rob. And it is one thing to catch somebody, but it's a whole other thing to get around them. 121.6 for Stingray Rob on the last lap. 121.2 for Kyle Kirkwood, your championship points leader, on the last lap. New leader, Kyle Kirkwood, is out front. I don't know what happened. We were not able to see it from our vantage point. But Kyle Kirkwood is your new race leader in the 28 car. And Rob slowed again. This time, his last lap was 1:25. Kirkwood not only passed him, he now has a 2.1 second lead. Rob is going to fall into the clutches of Rasmus Lind if he's not careful. It's about another 5 seconds back to Rasmus Lind as we go to the final 3 laps. Not sure if something's wrong with Stingray Rob's car, but all of a sudden his lap times have increased dramatically, and he had dominated this race from the green flag, and all of a sudden on lap 22 he falls out of the lead and drops the second spot as Kyle Kirkwood takes over in the number 28 car. Showing 3 to go on our monitor, so this is going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be great for Kyle Kirkwood, who will pad his championship lead with an overall win if he can hang on till the checkered flag waves. Looking at that Thompson-Petrov-Frost battle, Petrov still 0.7 of a second behind Thompson, another 0.8 of a second back to Frost. So they're still hard at it. They've completed lap 23, and now Rob's lap times are matching Kirkwood's, a race leader. They're both in the low 122s, and the gap between first and second, 2.3 seconds, as we have 2 laps to go. New race leader, Kyle Kirkwood, car 28. Stingray Rob second in car 2. Rasmus Lind third in car 10. Parker Thompson fourth in car 8. And Artem Petrov fifth in car 5. 2 to go before we expect the checkered flag. $14 of the 15 starters are still running. Matt Round-Garrido with mechanical issues, forced to retire after 13 laps. Leaders coming down into turn 11. Keep my eye on the starter. And your race leader, Kyle Kirkwood, gets the 1 lap sign. White flag, 1 lap to go. The gap between Kirkwood, your race leader in car 28, and Stingray Rob, who is running second, now 2.2 seconds. Rob in the number 2 car. Rasmus Lind in car number 10 in third spot. But he's 5.4 seconds behind Stingray Rob. So don't think he'll move up to second unless Rob has a miscue or some sort of other problem. Rob's lap time's consistent now, back in the low 122s, 122.3 for him. Actually, on that last lap, he was quicker than the race leader, Kyle Kirkwood, who turned to 122.4. But Kyle Kirkwood going to be coming home to a checkered flag and a race win in the penultimate race for Indy Pro 2000. The Grand Prix presented by Allied Building Products. This is the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Oh, we see a piece of bodywork out on the pavement somewhere. Can't tell from the camera angle what turn it is, but it's at the entrance to some turn. It looks like it's just out of the racing line, just to the left of the line. Comes your leader up the front straight, gets the checkered flag. Kyle Kirkwood, your race winner, by 2 full seconds over Stingray Rob, who takes the checker in second place. In the number 2 car, Rasmus Lind in car number 10. Finishes third. Then is Parker Thompson in car number 8, fourth. Artem Petrov, fifth in car 5. Daniel Frost, sixth in car 68. The 51 of Jacob Abel finishes in 7th. The 91 of Philippe Dennis is 8th. Nikita Lostachkin in car number 90 is 9th. And Sarah Valley moves into 10th on the final lap in car 11. Antonio Saravalli. Good run for him. Because that's it for the Indy Pro 2000. Cooper Tires Indy Pro 2000 Grand Prix presented by Allied Building Products. One more race to go in this series, and looks like Kyle Kirkwood has stretched his lead over Rasmus Lind. It was 20 points coming into this next to last race, but it's going to grow a little bit because he gets first place points and Rasmus Lind gets third place. Good race. Stingray Rob dominated at the beginning, and then for some reason, he may have had a mechanical issue or something. His lap times just rose dramatically, and this allowed Kirkwood to catch him up. At one time, Rob had probably a 3.5 second lead over the second place car, and we watched it shrink with each successive lap, and then all of a sudden, Kirkwood, who went from 1 second behind on one lap, came back around in the lead, and that's the way it ended up, with Kirkwood winning this next to last race for these cars. Stingray Rob finishing second. Rasmus Lind, the other championship contender, is third. Then Parker Thompson fourth. Artem Petrov fifth. We understand that Stingray Rob did have an off, and unfortunately for us, it was off camera. We didn't see it, and that's what caused his problems and allowed Kirkwood to close up and catch him. When you get off, you get junk on your tires. It's going to take you a couple of laps to get all that stuff off, and that's why his lap times all of a sudden kept getting higher and higher. And by the time he got it cleaned up, it was too late, and he ended up finishing 2 seconds behind Kyle Kirkwood, your race winner. So good drive for everybody. Good, clean racing. Nobody had any problems, and it was a good show. Boy, lots of congratulations and hugging going on. In fact, Kirkwood just got lifted up by one of his crew members, lifted him totally off the ground and held him up in the air, and a lot of hand clapping and hugging going on. A great celebration for Kyle Kirkwood, your race winner in that number 28 car. He's from Jupiter, Florida, in the RP Motorsport USA Mazda Firestex Industries Bell Helmets Seabelt entry. Getting a well-deserved glass of water. We're waiting for the voice of the road to Indy, Rob Howden, to catch up to him, and he'll probably have a chat with him, and he can tell us a little bit about what happened. He had a great race. At first, Stingray Rob was pulling it away, and then, as we were told out of our side, Rob had an off, and that allowed Kirkwood to catch back up, and not only catch up, but take the lead and hang on for the victory. Still lots of congratulations going on. Hugs all around. Okay, here are the points. 412 for Kyle Kirkwood, 384 for Rasmus Lind. So looks like it's 28 points. It was 20 coming into this next to last race between first and second. Now it's 28 points. That's the gap between Kyle Kirkwood and Rasmus Lind as they go to the final race of the season and the race for the championship tomorrow here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Parker Thompson currently third in points, but out of reach. He's at 319. Daniel Frost at 309. And Stingray Rob is actually fifth in the points at 308. 1 point behind Frost. He should be able to move up at least in the fourth spot, maybe even into third, ahead of Parker Thompson, depending on how their day goes tomorrow. Nikita Lastotchkin is currently sixth in points with 229, and it's Corey Enders seventh. Moises De La Vera eighth. Antonio Cervali ninth. And Jacob Abel 10th. That's the point standings going into tomorrow's final round of the 2019 championship for the Cooper Tires Indy Pro 2000 Grand Prix, presented by Allied Building Products.